If Modesto, California's school system says we want to allow trans athletes to play in women's and girls' sports, why is it any business of Washington to tell them they can't do it? Why not just defer to the local people in Modesto if that's what they want to do?
Well, that's a good question for Congress when they pass Title IX. But the fact of the matter is that every state in the country does get some support and federal funding, and they're all on federal welfare. So it is a very much of a theoretical question. It isn't reality. In reality, every state is reliant on these federal funds.
But you don't have to leverage that to. I mean, you personally, but the administration doesn't have to leverage that power to tell people in Modesto what to do. You could still let them have their money without saying, we don't agree with your public policy choice and we're going to basically force you to change.
So we're going to just abandon the girls in a certain backward place because they have a different policy? No, I don't think that is what Congress intended in Title IX. And we are not going to allow children to be abused or mutilated anywhere in this country, and girls to be shamed into having to, be harassed and change in front of boys. I think that's a privacy issue. That's a constitutional norm as well. And so I don't really have a big problem with that. And then you add federal funding to the mix, and I think it's clear that we have a right as a federal government. And even if there wasn't any federal funding, there is something called natural law and human rights. And I do think that they come into play where women are being forced to share spaces with men, give their trophies to men, and put themselves at sexual risk to men. I think that is highly problematic, and it is an appropriate area for police power of the federal and the state government.
Again, I get why you feel strongly about it, and you speak for tens of millions, and certainly for the policies of the administration. It just, not everybody would agree with you. I know there are people who would say that's not.
I'm very, very, very familiar with that, Mark.
So